Okie dokie. Welcome to this episode of Starseed Mission Support. It is my 2024 Dragon Year energy report. And I was just sitting outside, sitting with the earth, asking her what she would like everyone to know. And this is going to be a very dynamic year. Dynamic meaning there's going to be a lot of different things happening simultaneously because we are existing in a very multidimensional reality situation. I was guided to watch the movie Leave the World Behind last night, and I'm going to make a reaction video on its own because that movie really pissed me off. But anyway, I felt like it was important for me to watch because, there's these different timelines unfolding, and there's been a lot of talk about cyber attacks. I mean, I've seen that weird trailer that Klaus Schwab made, as if he's presenting the world's best idea ever. So there's fear flying around, there's excitement flying around. I want to address all the different things that will unfold. So, first, I am going to talk about possible lower timeline situations, things might be unfolding in, the more matrixy worlds, and how it is still ultimately all part of this dragon awakening. I'm going to talk about how in 2024, the dragon lines are coming into full activation and what that really means and how that's going to present itself. Sometimes we think activations are amazing, and they are in the long term, but, dragons are very powerful creatures. They're a very powerful energy. And so when the elemental forces of the earth fully awaken, things might get turned upside down for a little bit. So I'm seeing some of those energies at play at work, but there is a higher timeline that is unfolding as well. So I'm also going to be talking about what a lot of, star seeds might experience. This is a year that a lot of star seeds are going to awaken. 2023, it was a rabbit year. So there's a lot of rabbit holes. I feel like a lot of people woke up. And so there was, I think, like flat earth was trending on TikTok. A lot of these younger third wave generation star seeds are waking up. And so 2023 was kind of like waking up. Oh my God, what is all this crazy stuff that's happening? And 2024 is really going to be the year when a lot of those star seeds actually start coming online. And so star seeds coming online happen across the board because we're kind of one body. We're all so connected to the Earth's grids that when a new octave of starseed awakening happens, the starseeds that have been awakened for a while, they start to go through a higher octave of activation. So a lot of time capsules are unlocking this year. And then after I talk about the lower and the higher, I don't even want to call them that, but kind of a lower frequency and a higher frequency timelines, I'm also going to be talking about this third timeline that Lisa Renee has talked about, this Aurora Guardian timeline that is full of anomalies. I'm going to talk about the Aurora children that are coming in and how ultimately all these three timelines are one timeline. Like, it's all leading to the same thing. It's just different frequency bands are reacting to the different energies coming in at differently. Okay. So um, let's just start with a little recap. 2023 was a 7 year, was a rabbit year. I remember in the 2023 energy report, I talked about how, we talk about rabbit holes, right? 2023 was going to be the year when people started realizing that the last few years, the plague was totally false. It was like this mass manipulation event. And those who had great faith in their government and in the organizing powers of this world began to really see through the veil. And so 2023 was this really big year of facing off with those realities for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people that went and got the jab eventually in the later parts of 2023 began to realize that something had happened. Okay, so now there's a lot of people who are silently waking up to all that's unfolded in the last few years. And I think that this is really important because when I tune into the timeline, I feel like the elites, the cabal, whatever, these people that are orchestrating these mass false flag events, they are currently second guessing their next move because so many people, like every time they orchestrate something, more people wake up. And they're starting to realize that every time they try something, it ends up backfiring on them. And so they're like, they don't really know if they even have enough energy left to really pull this next big thing off, right? So they're kind of second guessing if this is really something that they want to do. But as these people are waking up, I forecasted that people were going to experience a lot of deep introspective work. Some people were going to experience this as like a dark year of the soul almost. But the dark year, like for example, I went through a couple of months at the end of 2023 where, I was pregnant. I'm pregnant. I was in my first trimester, which is why you guys didn't see me for an entire 3 months because I was literally in bed and I was in this void space. I had to be so still for this new energy to actually come through. And for some people who are not used to that, it might be experienced as a depression. You might feel like all of a sudden, you're not interested in doing anything and there's not any more new exciting things unfolding. And sometimes we can get freaked out when that happens, but really God is just trying to create space. And so I also called it Valley Forge of the Soul in 2023 because this is the year when we had to put in consistent action to get our soul ready for the mission of 2024. And so it looked like showing up, doing things, doing repetitive things, building. Seven is a very builder energy. It's about preparing the field and really sowing the seeds. I mean, when you're sowing the seeds, you're not going to get immediately rewarded. And so in life, there are periods of time when you're going to work really hard and not see a lot of rewards. And so sometimes our spiritual path and our light working can feel like that. But really, this has been a year when we're focused on that inner work. We're getting really still. We're getting into those places that it feels uncomfortable to be that still, and then we have to get even more still and move beyond that so that we're completely resting comfortably in the void. And that's when new creation can actually come forth, right? We've made enough space for that. And so, for all of you that have been following your guidance, doing your best, really following this energy of the 7 year of, realignment, redirection, going through your spiritual awakenings with devotion, with the right attitude. Sometimes we can feel like God is torturing us with our spiritual awakening. And we're like, oh no, I'm healing this thing again. And it's so hard. And we have this kind of teenage attitude about it. And we realize that we can actually mature ourselves and take on whole, more matured attitudes when we go through these things and really begin to even have triumph, even hold the energy of triumph as we're going through difficult things. This is when we really know that we have matured emotionally and spiritually. When God hands you a difficult ask, you are excited, you are grateful, you are ready. You're like, thank you, God, for trusting me. This is really hard, but I know that it was such great honor to be here. So, for those of us that have really been in that energy, the 2024 year is going to be really exciting because the 7 is the sowing of seeds and the 8 is the reaping of the abundance, right? And sometimes in our culture, we're so hasty to get the abundance. We want to join a fast course. It's going to be like 10K months, join my 2 week masterclass and you can make 10K months. We don't realize that, abundance, wealth, it's really an exchange of value. And value is only cultivated, through discipline, through cultivating something valuable inside of yourself, right? And so, we have hopefully been doing that. And this 8 year is really an energy that's going to amplify, it's going to multiply whatever rewards we were sowing into the earth. So, um, as we move into 2024, it's going to look like there are 2 or 3 timelines that are unfolding. But like I was saying before, they just look like different timelines because they're different vibrations. They're different things that people with different vibration will experience, will go through. But ultimately, it is one timeline and one movie that is unfolding, and that is the process of God reclaiming this planet and this universal body evolving into its next universal experiment, lifetime. And so recognizing that all the different timelines are always influencing each other, which is why, when you focus on your work and your soul's mission and you stay in your lane, you're ultimately helping everyone. You're supporting everyone transcend and evolve into the next frequency band by just holding that frequency that you're here to hold. And so I say that primarily the higher frequency timelines influence the lower ones. The more work we're putting in, the more peace we're emitting into the field, the less turbulent this transformative process is going to be. Okay, so let's talk about these lower timelines. So it's not really, again, a lower timeline. It's just, there are dense energy fields in this earth that needs to get turned up. Like when you are turning up the soil to plant new seeds, you have to turn the soil. And so, 2023, when you think about it, was really like a disclosure fanatic's dream. Like, do you guys remember back in the 2010s where, like, one day, people are going to talk about aliens on TV and they're going to know that, the government is trying to harm them. And, this was a dream for us because it all happened in 2023 in not a very dramatic way. I mean, remember when the Pentagon said that they're aliens and nobody really cared? But yep, now aliens are real. Now jabs are fake. Now people's faith in the government are at an all-time low. And really, people all over the world is awakening. And this was exactly what needed to happen. This was exactly why things have occurred in the way they have. And so, really, 2023 was a dream come true. It was a rabbit year where so many people went down rabbit holes and discovered new levels of reality. There are still those people that are in for a rude awakening. I mean, if at this point you're still not choosing to see, you're either, super genetically damaged, from the toxins that have been poisoning humans, or you're just really stubborn and really cowardly. And I think that those that are especially cowardly are probably in for a rude awakening, it feels like. And the reason why I say that is because the 2024 is a dragon year, right? And not only any dragon year is a wood dragon, is earth dragon. And the green, I mean, I've really been feeling drawn to referring it to as the emerald dragon because there's such a deep connection to this cosmic synchronicity between it being the dragon year and it being the year that the dragon lines are going to be fully activated. The dragon lines are this fail safe energy system that was built into the earth at the dawn of the earth's creation. And the purpose of the dragon lines is to facilitate consciousness ascension, because that is the role of the grid and of the meridians and of the ley lines, is for consciousness to be able to flow through the entire system, right? And the old ley line system had been hijacked to become a mind control system, which is something I talk about in another video called The Queen's Death and Dragon Ley Lines or something. So if you're interested in that, you can go watch that video. But essentially, these dragon lines, they're so much wider and so much more powerful than any other ley line that was ever existing on the earth before. And so it's just going to override whatever kind of grid control they previously were having through the military bases and the wars and the Stargate hijacking. Part of the role of the dragon lines is to also be a body and support system for this new Stargate system that's coming online. This was shown to me when I was in Maorea underneath this giant rainbow when we were swimming with the whales. And it was this incredible moment where our guide was like, I've been doing this for 10 years and this has never happened. It was like this entire rainbow arc and a family of whales that was leading our ship, leading our boat right through this middle of the arc. And some of my friends were in the water swimming with them. I was in the boat with Kara. I didn't want to drag my little toddler into the water to swim with the whales, but we were so immersed in their consciousness. And it was then they were showing me these 12 new Aurora Star Gateways that were establishing in the earth. And these are basically just overriding, all the Stargate wars that have happened on this earth. You think about, Iraq, Iran, and the Middle East, and all these horrible things that have happened in Egypt, right? Like, I have felt a resistance to going to Egypt. I know a lot of people go there and they think they're going to do amazing grid work there. And I know that some people really do, but half the time, unwitting grid workers go there and horrible things happen. I've seen both. I've seen people have amazing times, and I've seen people go into a battlefield with no weapons blind. I mean, that's what it feels like. And so, these Stargate sites have been hijacked for so long, over eons, over so many wars, so many millions of souls had been killed in these locations as sacrifices to invert the energies of these Stargates that you know, it makes total sense that the Guardians and the Aurora are just creating a whole new system. And so the dragons are facilitating and holding this whole new system that is going to be a conveyor system, a transit system, a vessel for, original God world consciousness to permeate through this world again. And as this is happening, it is awakening these elemental powers in the earth that were put to sleep through various spells in past ages when the consciousness of the earth and the powers on the earth was not as high. And so as I was meditating this morning, I was like, all right, dragons, like, what do you want me to see? And I just see these giant dragons, right? They're destroying the city. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, not literally. Okay. So, um, that's the dragon energy. It creates so powerfully and it destroys like volcanoes, right? And the thing with destruction is that like it's not necessarily about the destruction of like physical things. What it's destroying, because the dragon energy, it is such a profound defender of nature, defender of honor. It's this primal, powerful honor and devotion to creation, to source, to innocence, to beauty, right? To Mother Earth, to all that is sacred. It is this primal power that is in complete devotion. It's probably willing, like it's this primal, a mother, like if your child is like running in front of a car, there's like a primal power that just comes up and you'll just risk your life, right? To defend what is sacred and holy to you. And so, as these dragons wake up and they begin to see the kind of things that have unfolded on the earth in the cities and the dark bellies, with the human trafficking and the wars and all this stuff, I mean, these dragons, there's a kind of fury energy that is coming up, and not in a scary kind of way, but in this like destroying of illusions kind of way. And there are people that this can happen very easily for, right? I mean, for me, like it doesn't take a lot for me to just be like, whoa, like I need to take a step back and reassess myself. Like, reassess the situation and realign myself to my deepest integrity. But then there are some people who just require a much stronger energy than that to shake them up, right? To destroy the illusions in themselves and in our personalities. And so I saw these dragons destroying the cities, but they told me it wasn't literal because I was like, I'm not saying that. But they're like not literal because there's a certain consciousness at the creation of these cities that have to be destroyed. This is the consciousness of greed, the consciousness of consumerism, the consciousness of selfishness, right? You think about how much of the city is built in this insular way that doesn't have a care for animals. There's roadkill everywhere, and it's just sucking the energy out of the earth. And here's the thing, every single human being is responsible, even if they didn't know. Because, okay, honestly, who doesn't know at this point that there are certain things that are destroying the planet? So it is ultimately each individual's person's choice to ignore it, to not think about it, to not commit themselves to, in adopting these qualities of the dragon to honor and defend nature. So the dragons were destroying the mindsets. They were destroying the distortions of these cities. And, it's unclear um, how that will happen. It's unclear how that will happen. Could it, involve some sort of, war or cataclysm? It really depends on us, right? Um, no matter what, this planet is resetting and not in the way that Klaus Schwab wants to. In the way that the dragons are holding space for it, heaven on earth, right? You think about heaven on earth and it manifesting. I mean, there can't be human traffickers in heaven on earth. That's just like obvious to me, right? But then how do we literally eradicate that disease? It's going to require for illusions to be destroyed in a lot of human beings to actually stand up for what's right. And so, this is a very strong initiation energy. It's a very strong primal guttural activation energy where a lot of people are going to be given a choice. And, I feel like almost everyone that is, watching this video, you are probably on the higher timeline where you've been hearing the earth's call for many, many years, possibly decades. You've been doing the inner work. You've been, destroying these illusions inside of yourself. And so this is not going to be this confronting, powerfully initiating energy for you, but that's what it might be for people that have not been listening and are not listening but need to be listening. So, in a way, it feels like Mother Earth is humbling us in a very loving way. I look at it like I see a vision of, when a dog has a litter of puppies or a tiger, and like the little tigers are just jumping on them and like biting them, and they just nip them. Like it's like this being a parent. Mother Earth is being a parent, and Mother Earth is saying, "All right, humans, you need to rein this in. Whatever this is that you're doing, you need to rein it in." And so, I feel that this may happen for leaders, right? Countries that are operating completely out of integrity, countries that are operating in complete models of destruction and pollution. These countries may be humbled. I don't know. All I saw was dragons protecting nature and destroying the mindsets that are destroying nature. I don't know how that is going to unfold. I don't see it as completely being devastating, but there may be casualties, with anything, like with any war. We're in a war right now, right? There is a silent war of poisoning us. There were people that died from the jabs. And so, with any of these processes, there are casualties. But the closer to Mother Earth you are, the safer you are. And oftentimes, a lot of the people that end up dying are souls that are choosing to exit to either come back, at a later time, or to come back in a more opportune scenario to actually be of assistance. So, in this current timeline, to navigate this timeline, like, are there dangers? There are always dangers, right? I was just in Peru last winter and there were horrible uprisings there and protests, and people were injured. They were throwing cars off of cliffs and stuff like that. And so, are there dangers? There are always dangers. But if you are close to the earth, if you are close to God, you will be safe. And so, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just recognizing that there are very powerful primal energies that are awakening in the earth, and sometimes, we can be naive and thinking like, oh, it's going to be this gentle, cool cosmic energy. Like you think about the things that happen in our own lives, right? For me, when I get activations, I mean, it gets crazy. I feel like I'm going to, tear into a million pieces and fire is going and getting hot flashes. It's intense. And so, yeah, the dragons are awakening. They're initiating people. They're destroying the foundations, what is no longer working and what is not in reverence and alignment with Mother Earth. I don't know how they're going to do that, but that is what they're showing me. Mother Earth is going to humble those who are operating in just complete selfishness and disregard for all that is sacred. I don't know how that's going to unfold, but that's what I'm seeing. Okay. So this is a very strong energy that carries into the higher timelines as well, but not in as much of a confronting kind of way. So, because the star seeds and light workers were so connected into the grids already, you, whether consciously or unconsciously, have been working with the energies. You are an acupuncture point on the earth, and your DNA, if you listen to these transmissions and you're starting to get a little wavy, like you feel like you're on mushrooms, that is the product of your DNA, activating, sparking open, and resonating to these higher dimensional, higher frequency truths and energies. So, if that happens to you, it means that you already have this genetic template that is working and connecting to the earth. And so, as the grids are coming online, you're coming online. As the grids are beginning to host higher dimensional frequencies of consciousness, that is also happening for you. I gotta take these off. So, um, there's like, alrighty. Okay, back to my notes here. Okay, and so the earth is very conscious and the grids are very conscious. And this is really not like a selective process where only a few people get saved by the earth. It's actually like the earth wants as many people to stay on the earth as possible, right? So anyone who is willing to just live in harmony, anyone that's just willing to live in service is more than welcome to remain on her body. She's just choosing to close off some realities like the horrendous wars and human trafficking, like those timelines and realities, she's collapsing them. She's saying, I'm no longer choosing these experiences. I've learned from this. I've cataloged this. We've gained everything we needed from these experiences. And now we're closing them off. We no longer are choosing to have those experiences. And so, almost anyone who has a beautiful heart, who's willing to live in harmony and unity with the earth, um, she's happily protecting and stewarding into safety. And the more the closer to Mother Earth you are, the easier it will be for you to hear guidance. If you feel like you need to relocate or just go on a trip, it just keep listening to your guidance, because that guidance is what is how the earth and how the guardians are communicating with you. So, um, as these new systems come online, more of our personal consciousness comes online. This means higher dimensional aspects of your soul is ready to come in. So, this consciousness that's being hosted in the dragon lines, it is interuniversal, beyond this universe, right? There's a interuniversal eternal source, an eternal source that is coming into all these creations. But God itself is not creation, right? Creation is what God has made. Creation is the body as the manifest body of God, but there's an eternal consciousness, eternal love, eternal peace that is, before creation, pre-creation, beyond creation. And so that is the consciousness that's coming in to rehabilitate all the fallen consciousness that is on the earth. Something that is taking us back to our original order, our original template, our original blueprint. And so, as this is happening, you will start to access these higher dimensional aspects of yourself that are connected to that eternal source, that have been working in connection to that source for so long. And that is why you're here right now. That is why you're listening to this transmission, and why you resonate with my work. Here at the EarthStar Academies, because this is a transmission station for this signal, this homing beacon of this eternal creation, God world's consciousness is coming in to reclaim this world. So this will practically look like, soul legacy missions actually taking form. Maybe you've been collecting information and getting training and receiving visions about something for a decade. And suddenly you're getting the green light to inaugurate that, because this inauguration energy is very strong. What an inauguration really is like it doesn't mean that it's going to make a big pronunciation. It doesn't mean that is all of a sudden going to be known by everyone, right? But what it does mean is that for a certain soul group of people, for a certain collective of people, this is going to feel like the year where it literally all began. And I know that we've been, I woke up in 2012. A lot of people woke up in 2012, which by the way was a dragon year. But it really feels like we've been working up to this point where a critical mass has been reached and we can fully be here now. Our highest consciousness can actually fully be in our body now. And this could have felt like, we just didn't, our muscles were weak or our wings were broken. We could feel access to this power, but we just couldn't stand on it. We couldn't express it. There was like just a place that was leaking this energy. And even though we can sense this massive source, we can sense this immaculate creation, there was something that just like maybe we felt like our voice was mute and we just couldn't speak the words, right? So there were certain time capsule systems in place. Okay, and those systems are being removed. Those blockades are being removed. It's like all systems go. And so, what does the inauguration of the Emerald Covenant really mean? For I think until this point in the mission, we've been talking about this universal reclamation, about this Emerald Covenant, about this promise that creation made, and has been very etheric, very mental, right? Is this frequency that we're connecting to, but it just hasn't fully landed on the earth. It's like in order for us to find proof that it's even real, like we have to lean into our soul's memories. But 2024 is a year when these crazy things are going to start to unfold where you're like, wow, God's presence is on earth. And this is going to look like miracles happening in your own life. God's presence being so amplified in your own life to the point where you're just, multiple times during the day, you're weeping in the glory of creation and what power, what immaculate power this is, and how much of an honor it is to be in tune with this consciousness that is literally permeating through the world. And this is the doing. A lot of this is the doing of the dragon lines because, God's intelligence was not able to fully live in this world due to the inverted magic and the Stargate hijacks that have happened over the last however long. And because the dragon lines are coming online, this fail-safe system. Now that original intelligence is actually able to fully live, fully incarnate in the earth. And what this means is, original intelligence is the orchestrator of synchronicity, is the orchestrator of divine timing, divine order. And so, when we have divine order, you meet the right person at the right time, and the right person gets into a position of power and then, sets off a sequence of correct events that leads to a world of harmony. And so far, that's just not been able to happen on the level that it really needs to create planetary impact. And as the dragon lines come online fully this year, it just means that God's consciousness, original creation consciousness, is finally able to reclaim its throne as the ultimate source of order and containment for creation on this planet. And, this is going to begin to look like just insane miracles. Like you're going to be guided to do crazy things. You're going to bump into people that you just were like, wow, like this will change the trajectory of my whole life for you to just meet that one person that sets you off on an entire different trajectory. Um, and so just as the ley line systems is almost ready to perform its destiny, right? This is the destiny of this ley line system. It was created for this moment. It was created for this eon, this phase of the cosmic mission of the universal lifetime that we're living. So many of us are also being prepared to be ready to perform our destiny. And our destiny is like our legacy mission, our legacy project, right? Something that we're going to create that changes the architecture of human civilization forever. And this is more than just, oh, I'm going to make a 6-week course on, something that I know. It's like thinking bigger, right? Challenging the edges of our mentalized limitations. You might think, oh, if I just made $10,000 a month, this would change my life. Well, think bigger. Think the impact that you're here to make on a planetary level, right? Challenge yourself, challenge your perception of what you're capable of, because really our capacity is what we allow ourselves to take on and what we allow ourselves to believe. And if we reach a limitation, we have two options: collapse and be a victim and complain about it and be like, oh my God, God is expecting so much from me and I can't do this. Or be like, wow, what an opportunity I get right now to literally expand beyond this current realm of limitation and become an even greater version of me that can hold this next level of responsibility. Because it's really that time. We've been playing small and we've been questioning our power, but I feel like half of this room, or the entirety of this room, is way smarter than Klaus Rob, and he believes in himself to be the ruler of this planet. Okay, so next time you see Klaus's face, just remember that. Remember, if that guy can think that he can rule the world, then you can impact the world in a positive way as well. Okay, so let's see here. There is a defragmentation that's happening. So when I look at the eight, right, it's like this infinity, but it's also two that has split into one that has split into two, is like this splitting of the cell. And so what is happening, it's like this alchemy of the two returning into the one, Hieroscamos. So I literally saw the number eight twisting. It's like it twisted itself into two and now it's twisting itself back into one. So this is like the spell of separation that is completely dissolving. And the first people that are going to experience this is going to be the star season light workers. Like, we're always going to be the first ones to experience a planetary energy and to receive a planetary energy, because we are one with the energy system. We are sensitives. Like, we were born to not only be in tune, but also to facilitate some of that. Our DNA is coded for Source to use as a transmission station to support the Earth in some of these activations. And so the Starseed Lightworker community will likely experience this spell breaking this year of a defragmentation. This is going to be very powerful, where the truthers and the star seeds and the witches and, all these people that ultimately are responding to the same frequency just in their own way are starting to realize that we've been pitted against each other to judge each other and, make fun of each other and to mock each other, when really we should all be working together because we're literally on the same team for creation. Like, we're all just responding to this call to show up, to love creation, to love the earth, and to love humanity. That is at the source of all of our desires. And so we're going to see this defragmentation, I feel, because this energy is happening on a planetary level, and the star seeds are just going to be the first ones to experience this. It's literally a breaking of a spell, like this segregation energy has been a spell, like, because it's not conscious. Like, if anyone were to consciously choose, nobody would choose to like have clicks. Like, nobody would want that, but we've been playing it out because we've been cast a spell over our eyes, and this is the breaking of the spell. um and so, yeah, especially for those that are connected to the high angelic orders, the Emerald Order particularly, if you've been in hiding, Liz is just popping into my field. But yeah, so many of you feel like you were literally held in an invisibility cloak, like God was protecting you for until the right time. This is what it means to be a time capsule. What a time capsule is God has placed a special magic, a special gift, a special thing inside of a time capsule, and God has placed it on the earth in your body in the form of you. And to you, you might have been like, oh my God, I'm so frustrated. Why can't I just go and make that YouTube video? Why can't I just start my mission? And for some of you, you literally just need to get over it and do the thing. But for some of you, you've been in this time capsule where God has literally been concealing you until it was the right time. It wasn't always, because when a lot of highly templated star seeds come into activation at the same time, it sets off, it literally detonates this atomic cosmic bomb of activation and God consciousness on the earth. It's literally like pulling back, this what are they called? A catapult, pulling it back, for 10 years, continuing to pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. And so the moment when that thing gets released, there is so much power. And that is the purpose of time capsules that are opening. And a lot of that is going to be happening this year. So it's very, very exciting. This is part of this energy that's supporting the inauguration of the Emerald Covenant, which, is really something that is going to unfold over the next 20, possibly 50 years, right? And in the grand scheme of things, you think about just how much have happened and how much have gone on in recent Earth history. 50 years is not a lot of time. There's been a lot of civil wars that have gone, that long to bring through evolutionary consciousness as a nation. And we're talking about an evolutionary octave shift on a planetary level. And so, this could very much unfold for the next 20 to 50 years. And, we will look back and realize that this cosmic atomic activation just really initiated in this year of 2024. This will not necessarily be perceptible to everyone, but it will be abundantly clear to a certain soul group connected to the original angelic orders, right? And these beings are holding space and serving as a host for this consciousness. So, what that means is that those of you who have a purpose or a contract to be an original host or holder for this Emerald Covenant consciousness, it will just begin to just take over your life in a way. Like, it's going to make itself known. You're going to have the soul spark remembrance of who you are, of your connection to this high angelic order to hold space. Like, what a deep honor. There's no ego like identity in this. There's no, oh my God, I'm so important in there's no room for that. Like, this is like, if you're really connected to this, your spiritual maturity is so far beyond that level of consciousness. And if you are running those things, I don't even know what to say because, we're literally talking about the evolution of like a universal cycle here. There's nothing, to take credit for. There's nothing that we need to feel important about. It's just such deep, exciting honor to get to witness creation on this level of intimacy. Like, that's really what these beings are feeling as we are facilitating this work. And it really requires, this level of soul integrity and honor and purity to be taken into the holiest of holy temple and to hold space for this process that is unfolding. So, for all of you that are listening to this, you are coming into contact with this consciousness for a reason, right? You are receiving this transmission for a reason. And it's okay to not understand anything that I'm saying, but still feel connected to it, still feel like you're meant to be a part of it, because you don't need to understand these things mentally or with these words that I'm using, right? You could just feel the holiness of it. And that, like, you're still part of it, you're still holding space. You're not any less evolved just because you don't understand these words, right? You're still just doing exactly what you need to be doing and receiving everything that you need to receive. Um, and like I said, this will also not necessarily be perceptible to everyone, but eventually it will. So, for example, there are timeline anomalies that will happen, and this is moving into the third category now, the Aurora timeline anomaly reality. So, there are these Aurora children that are coming in from the God world, and they are just doing immense things. Like, over the Pleiades Gateway weekend, I personally witnessed like 4 or 5 young Aurora God world children enter and leave this world. And when these advanced souls do this, they literally open a massive portal to the God world. And when I connect to their soul, even though it's so horrible for parents to go through these kinds of experiences for these souls, like, there's no greater honor. And when I tune into these souls, they're just so happy to be doing the work, and they say they do it because they can. It's, you just need to be an advanced soul to be coming in and out of bodies, you know, like, it's nothing to open up portals between realms Of course, this is an experience that my daughter Kara had, but then I continually just started to meet all of these different parents that are, experiencing these kinds of things. And these children are doing an innumerable service to creation, to the earth. When they are able to do this, the levels of cosmic consciousness that can enter through these gateways, there's nothing else that can come close to this kind of activation. Okay. And so in 2024, we will see the arrival of this soul group of Aurora God World children, and this will continue into the next 20 years. These children are bringing in this new template. They will be able to activate their DNA. I mean, Kara told me that she's coming to teach me how to materialize things from thin air. There are people on this earth right now who are templated to perform miracles. And I'm not talking about one or two, I'm talking about hundreds. And this is really the timeline when I mean, I I just get speechless when we get to this part of the reality, um, where, what what more is there to say? I'm just like inundated by this immaculate reality that we are about to witness God reclaim this world and with a greater amount of beauty and miracles and love and peace like we've ever seen before. And this is going to come through the 144,000. These are the beings who have gone through the trials and the tribulations and the training and the devotion and the choice points of soul to be a worthy instrument of God's mission here on earth is really not something that just happens out of the blue. It's something that you continuously will be trained to move through over and over and over again through many lifetimes, and then over and over and over again in this lifetime, right? How many times have we gone through these dark nights only to come back to God, only to come back to what we know in our hearts, no matter how much we're mocked, no matter how much we are left in the dust and abandoned, we just always come back to this truth inside of our heart. This is what's leading us through these initiations, um, as the Aurora Star Gateways begin to fully open, which, I think is going to start to happen more once the dragon lines are stabilized by the end of the year. These Aurora Star Gateways, it's almost like the frequency they bring in have like a chemical receptor in our DNA. I don't know if this makes any sense. That's how I feel when I'm in these places, whereas like I'm just sitting there and I feel my avatar consciousness begin to activate. And so many of us, I mean, I'm being guided to discover these 12 Aurora gateways. And, people are going to start to go to these places and just experience activation that, they couldn't really dream of. In previous cycles, we got to be born in temples and stuff. We got to be trained when we were 2 years old on how to meditate and levitate and stuff like that. And we just not getting that in this lifetime. But what we do have is our past life memories and experiences and these Aurora Star gateways that are helping us activate our DNA. But it's still going to require effort from us. And this is what I wanted to say, you know. Um, with the timeline anomalies. So, in order for us to be a vehicle for timeline anomalies to occur, we have to believe in the limitless potential of our own creativity. So, the Aurora is making it possible so that we can slide and maneuver and drive the timeline in such with so much more ease, right? It's like the effort that we put in is amplified by exponential amounts. But we still have to put in our effort and create and come into our masteries. Like when we um add our mastery and our creativity and the Aurora gateways together, that's when we're going to get these insane timeline anomalies. And I'm honestly already witnessing them myself. Just like I got a little taste of it like on the world stage. Like there is someone that I've seen in visions for many years that, we felt like this person might run for president in this country. I can't tell you any details. And then I saw that this country was going to be one of the key holders of the Emerald Covenant and be one of the first nations to install a new Earth government system, and that this person was going to become the president. And then one day, when I was working with my son, who's in my stomach, and we were talking about his, plan, and anyway, long story short, this whole activation sequence happened, and I saw the Emerald Covenant inauguration energy come in, and the very next day, this crazy thing happened in that country, and that person announced that they're going to maybe run for president. And so this is just a crazy scenario where, we've been thinking for maybe a decade that this was what's going to unfold. God has been showing me for a decade that the Emerald Covenant was going to activate and this was what's going to unfold. And then I saw it begin to unfold in the third dimension in real life. And so this is only a little taste. Like that's what God told me, was that, but this is nothing. This is just the beginning, right? What we're going to begin to see unfold on a planetary scale once all these energy systems are online, and once those with their leadership templates and blueprints and DNA are active, it's really, we can't even fathom like the kinds of craziness that's going to unfold. It is an immaculate, miraculous beauty that can only be by God's intelligence. God is going to show us how incredibly beautiful and profound this is all about to be. And so, finally, as these higher octaves of divine power that we've ever been able to access on the earth, ever, is being made available in the grids this year, it actually means that we need to exert higher energy and equal energy in the human form. Because this lightness of the aurora, it needs the power of the primal elemental dragon. Like if we're just with the aurora, we're just gonna be like, yeah, da, da, like everything is amazing and we're so happy, right? We'll just float and because they're just this plasmic element. That's just who they are. So in order for us to take advantage and really use that and maximize the power of that, like higher octaves of our own consciousness like we've never felt before is about to come into our body. So this means that we have to maximize our workouts, right? We got to just work out more and expand what we believe is our personal limitations, really, begin to exert our personal agency like we've never done before, activating this dragon primal creation power like we've never done before, like allowing this aurora consciousness to heal and replenish and rejuvenate and inspire us on the infinite possibilities, and then allowing the dragon energy to like really primally give birth to that, like while you're roaring and screaming and doing 100 push-ups. Okay, so that's what I was seeing. The first thing is like they're like, y'all need to maximize your workouts. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, like in order for this consciousness to fully come in, like we need strong muscles, because your muscles are the the coils of energy, and your muscles and your bones actually have their own like free energy system. I know. So when we maximize this dragon energy, what we're doing is we're taking all that cosmic consciousness and we're making it material. We're making it physical into our body. And that's really what needs to happen, because 2024 has the power to blast your whole mission into the stratosphere and just inaugurate your whole life. Everything that you've been waiting for can happen or can start to happen in this year. And this is even tied into, the cryptocurrency markets. Like I feel like Shane's been telling me about how there's this bull run that happens every, like, I don't know anything about crypto, but it really feels like it's part of this dragon eruption energy, this primal eruption, reclamation of what is yours, a returning of your power, the embodiment of your power. Or we felt like we weren't sure, like, oh, how do I just be powerful? Like, we're not shy anymore. We're here to be who we are. We're here to do what we're doing. And this energy can either set you up for your whole life's mission or send you into another 10 years of waiting, is what I wrote. Like, that's literally how it felt to me as I was feeling this energy. So, that's all I've got for you today in my 2024 energy report. I hope that you enjoyed this and this was exciting for you, I wanted to let you know that I just launched this 2024 Galactic Astrology calendar. It is a wall calendar. It is super beautiful. I've got 48 different galactic alignments on the calendar. It's also got the Emerald Dragon New Year on it. And I also have a workshop on all the alignments because I really just feel like, instead of celebrating Valentine's Day, we could be celebrating the Cygnus Stargate. Like, that's way cooler. It's way better. Valentine's Day literally came from these Romans who would line all their women, these naked women down the street, and they would, skin these wolves or these dogs, and they would dip the skin in the blood, and they would run down the street slapping the women with these bloody pelts. So that's where Valentine's Day kind of come from. And I don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day anymore. And I think that there are these true sky alignments with the earth and the sun, and this organic living star body is in a direct straight line, and cosmic energy always opens up during those days. That's what I found. And so I really wanted to share this system with you guys so that you can begin to literally decouple from the false matrix and reorient yourself in organic time. There are only 242 copies to this limited edition calendar. So the link is in the description to get one of those. And I also wanted to let you know, I actually meant to tell you guys earlier, but I get so excited about this transmissions that I'm sharing that I just totally forget about actually sharing the sponsor, which is myself. But I'm going to be offering a New Year goal setting workshop because 2024 is going to be epic. And for me, I've really started to make weekly goals and it's changed my life. Like, you guys ask me how I'm so productive and how I'm just making way in my mission. It's because I have a weekly, monthly, seasonally, and yearly and lifetime goal system. And it's really, it's not rocket science, but it's also, you have to really love yourself to give yourself that structure. You have to really believe in yourself and the impact that you're capable of making to give yourself the opportunity to solidify and create that structure in your life. And so this is kind of the energy that I'm always holding in the EarthStar Academy. I'm here to support and be in service to the 144,000 through this 500 module curriculum that I've built for you guys on absolutely everything: multidimensional soul healing, entrepreneurship, grid work, every single thing. I have created the system with the guardians to support your mission. And so, if you've been feeling like, oh my God, I'm doing this all alone, I don't know what I'm doing, know that the mothership is literally right here. The link is in the description as well. There are like 500 light workers and star seeds in our community, and it's just so beautiful. Everyone is so loving. There's just no one that is kind of off in their ways, because this frequency, like, we're just focused. We're focused on ourself and our mission in the best self-possessed, self-centered way. We're self-centered. We're centered in ourselves. So yes, I'm excited to hang out with you guys on New Year's Eve on the 31st to share this goal setting workshop. And it's so fun to have a group of people where you're just working towards your goals together. Like, that's what it's all about. The people that you surround yourself with is like so important. And in my community, in our community, in the EarthStar Academy, I'm just differentiating from other spiritual academies out there. Like, I'm all about dragon creation. I'm here to embody a planetary leadership contract. And so I'm calling in those, indigos and starseeds who are here to make an impact on the world and do it in a way that is in integrity, build wealth in a way that is in the original blueprint of, womb wealth and cosmic wealth co-creation. So I am so excited and happy to welcome you home, and you can go and find those links in the description. I hope that you enjoyed this energy report and you're now all fired up for this dragon year. And let's get it, family. Somebody says, Z, you should do a real New Year's Eve of March 21st. It's interesting because I think for me, the New Year's, because I'm Chinese, it's probably gonna start on Chinese New Year when the Emerald Dragon year starts. I've heard people say that the new year starts on the solstice, the new year starts in March. I mean, I think it's really just whatever resonates with you. But here's a funny thing is that a lot of these alignments, I get them from this astrologer named Graham Forscutt. And I mention him and also share his links in the Galactic Astrology Calendar mini course. And he's also agreed to give ESA community members a discount on sessions. So if you are ESA member or you have the workshop, you can actually just email him and say that you're part of the EarthStar Academy, and he will give you a discount on your Starseed Galactic Astrology reading. But anyway, last New Year's, I remember he's always posting these alignments, right, on his Facebook page and be like, "Oh, December 17th, we're connected to the Milky Way." And then on December 31st, he's like, "It's the Matrix New Year. There is no significant alignments." I just thought that was so funny um to see that. And I mean, hey, maybe it's just quiet, right? It's a good day to do very mundane things like drinking if you're into that kind of thing. But anyway, I guess I will put the link in the chat because some people are not seeing it. And I literally just realized that I forgot to set the settings to public on my Facebook page, and so this video has just been playing um, on private on my page this whole time. So it was still fun to get 300 and I think 70 people here for this energy report. We're so excited for 2024. If all things go well, we are going to be doing an Emerald Awakening event in August. We're going to see kind of how the year pans out. But like I said, I'm going to do like a reactions video to Leave the World Behind because that movie really pissed me off. Um, I forgot to mention, about this, I guess about the cyber attacks. Like, I guess I said that the elites are really second guessing because here's the thing, like they could try something, but ultimately this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. So I really don't think that there's anything for us to be afraid of. I know that people are panicking possibly about like food and stuff. So I mean, it's always good to be prepped. Like have 2 months of grains on hand. Like you're not going to die if you eat rice every day, right? It's fine. It's not going to be more than that. It's not going to be longer than that. And I also don't even feel like, I mean, okay, here's the thing is that I've heard several people talk about this blackout slash cyber attack in the community. Um, and they are the mamos in the Sierra Nevada mountains who are like praying with the earth all the time. And apparently they are saying that something might be happening. And so I'm kind of like, if they're saying it, I'm kind of listening. Right. And then on top of that, Whitney Webb, who is this amazing journalist who has brought out so much information about Epstein and different kinds of things like that. She has also mentioned that there might be something like this where they're trying to shift the world into like a controlled digital currency. Okay. And then Klaus Schwab himself has made a video about a cyber attack. And so, I mean, it's good to be prepared. But for me, it really feels like it's not for sure. Like they're still calculating, if it's worth it, because this is really going to be the thing that will lead to an uprising. Like people are not going to fall for this again. People are not just going to get herded into all controllable digital currency, like not in America. So, um, yeah. And then the other thing that I saw that happened was that they're saying that they're about to release Jeffrey Epstein's client list. And that might be another reason why they want to create some sort of altercation, some sort of distraction away from that. But yeah, I mean, what is unfolding is inevitable. And how it unfolds really depends on humans, how humans are reacting. But what pissed me off about the movie was that, they depicted humans, they always depict humans as like the most horrible, heartless, fear-based beings. But like when you turn off all the Wi-Fi frequencies, like humans are actually the cutest beings. Humans are so loving. And so I have full faith that in the case that something like that happens, that humans are going to band together and just take care of each other. Like That's what I think. That's my projection. Call me naive or whatever, but I really believe in human nature, and I don't believe that human nature is what they paint. I think they try to project evil onto humans because that's what they are, these interdimensional demons that are trying to manipulate human destiny. They try to blame humans and have us hate ourselves, but ultimately, human beings, we are imbued with Christ inside of our heart. We are built as these Christic beings. And so if the systems go down, like I just see humans helping each other, really remembering how important it is to be in a tribe, realizing like if the power grids went down, like we just realize like what's actually important in life. Like that's what I feel. And so if the power actually does go down as a light worker, as a psychic warrior, you really just gotta be holding that reality down. Like is your job to know the reality that you're creating. And this is what I like. This is what I think is that if anything like that ever happened, that humans will just love each other and have massive realizations because there'll be no more frequency warfare on their brains and consciousness. And God and the earth is going to be able to speak to them and they will have awakenings. I mean, that's kind of what I think. So, anyway, that's it for my rambling today. Somebody is asking why my business is all in American. It is because America has ultimately the best entrepreneurship infrastructure. So my trust is actually established in the US and my business, and I have property in New Mexico. And so all of my things run through American trust systems. And so everything, because ultimately, I know people can hate on America, and there has been forces that are trying to destroy America. But, as far as planetary consciousness goes, America is leading in democracy. I know that's like America's going through an identity crisis, okay? It's okay. But there's still so many qualities, the Constitution and all those things, and the entrepreneurial spirit of evolving collective experience, like not talking about the greed, there's all these shadow aspects. But anyway, we just can't like oversimplify things, We really got to use our noggin and think about things. um so yeah, I am a huge fan of America, not in its current state, nor its current leadership, but just like the original intention and the ethos and the culture. It's like there's so many things that we can appreciate about America. And there's some things that we, really need to just get its shit together in some ways. But compared to a lot of other countries, it's a really beautiful place, and we take that for granted when we say, "Oh, America sucks." Like, just go and take a look at China or some of these other countries that are not as developed, and we'll realize how lucky and how fortunate we really are. Can you give us details on the country that will have an enlightened leader? I don't feel like I can share that information yet, but I'm probably going to be able to talk about it soon. What's your viewpoint on Canada? So I'm Canadian. Canada was a beautiful country. It's currently, again, having an identity crisis because the leader of Canada really wants it to be a communist country or a fascist country. It's really hard to live in Canada right now, which is why we are not. My family has moved out of Canada because it was just very draconian, and they've started to censor the internet, which is obviously what they do in China. And I grew up in China, so I'm very sensitive to nation communism. um, but I know that actually Canada has a great destiny as well. There are land masses, right? We have to remember that the land has its own consciousness, and the land is creating its reality. The land is like the fractal consciousness and the avatar embodiment of Mother Earth. And so Canada actually has an incredible destiny. It just needs to work out whatever is happening in its teenagehood. It's going through something, it'll figure it out. Um, But I think that there are a few different countries that will be the leaders in this anchoring of new consciousness civilization. Some countries in Europe, some countries in North America, um, and I think some countries in South America as well. And once this happens, other countries will see how well it's doing and begin to adopt these templates. Some of these countries will start to be led, in the next 10 years, we're going to see certain star seeds become called to run for office. And those starseeds will have been the really weird, nerdy ones that are, kind of autistic, that were just like obsessed with specific things like systems of cities. Like, who gets obsessed about that, right? But every starseed is a little bit, um, every starseed is a little bit autistic, and nerdy about something. And some of us are being prepared. I know that in maybe, I can't say exactly. In the vision, I looked like I was about 40, but maybe I stopped aging. So I don't know exactly how long it's going to be, but I'm going to look like I'm 40 when this happens. And is that there's going to be a new sort of United Nations that is completely not the same as the current United Nations. And it's basically going to be like a planetary peace council that also involves galactic beings sitting on the council with the humans. So they're going to lead and help humanity heal the earth and install higher consciousness civilizations. And so this is all what is coming towards us, in the later years, and it's all inaugurating. I think what we can all really focus on right now is establishing our personal sovereignty and our personal power. The elites are always going to be throwing things at you, like, look at this thing, be distracted by that thing, like, don't worry about, and like, it's all just taking us away from what we're supposed to be doing. Your responsibility is to build stability, build foundation, build wisdom, and build wealth for your family and for your tribe. And then if you can hold more responsibility, then God is going to place more responsibility under your care. But in the beginning of January, I'm going to be sharing a new course on wealth creation, because I believe that 2024 is also going to be just a really great year. It's an 8 year, right? Abundance, reaping the rewards of the seeds that you have sown. And so this is the year, like, if you have problems with money, if you have relationship issues with money, if you have shame and confusion and disappointment and fears and limiting beliefs around money, this is the year to sort that out. And this is one of the most important things, like our sexuality, the food that we eat, our financial situation. This is like the thing that light workers like to bypass or ignore, but it's so important. We need to heal our relationship with our money. And so that's what we're going to be working on at the start of the Chinese New Year. So you'll be hearing more about that shortly. So there was a question here. Um, I can't. Aren't the Chinese elders working for humanity? Um, I mean, absolutely. In the spirit realm, like, my ancestors absolutely are. The dragon families are transiting wisdom and wealth interdimensionally through soul lineages, because, a lot of these things are very multidimensional, and a lot of you have ancient grail, you know, bloodline connections, and you will have to retrieve these inheritances interdimensionally. So this is what I'm going to teach you about in, this new container. But as far as, the president of China, like, I don't think he's working for humanity. But anyway, are you familiar with Rory Duff? Yeah, we're actually personal friends. I invited him to join in this event for next summer. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, we've been having lots of conversations, and he's confirmed so many of my wild spiritual downloads about the grids. Okay. So anyway, I love you guys, and thank you so much for hanging out and tuning in with me. And I'm so excited. I hope to see you at this goal setting workshop because next year, at the end of 2024, we can come together and be like, look at all this cool stuff we did. That's the thing with having goals is that you can really be like, I did this, and I did this. Um, and it helps us measure our little steps as we move towards our destiny. So, anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.